Can Solana overtake Ethereum? We're seeing a lot of metrics that have a lot of people, their heads are spinning, they're surprised, they don't know what's happening, they don't know why Solana keeps continuing to pump, or we're seeing a lot of positive numbers, we're seeing active users skyrocketing, and also we're getting listed on perpetuals futures on a very major exchange. You're gonna want to check this out. This is Discover Crypto.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special. You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
Thank you for joining, everybody, and welcome back, Rodney.
Hey,
we're here.
what's up,
We're talking about some altcoins, and now we're not going to talk about ranked 8,000 meme coin. Is that okay? We're talking about Solana.
I guess we could talk about actual.
Wait, everybody's talking about Grok, I thought.
Yeah, that's right. Grok. Well, yeah, it was like what, maybe top 200 at this point.
Right.
So
hit $186 million market cap.
I just saw Kyle Chasse tweet, or Chasse tweet. He's like, I bought the top. So it happened.
As they do.
Did you get in on Grok, Rodney?
I did not get in on Grok. I faded Grok at 20 million. Sorry, excuse me for not buying a meme coin, you know.
It went up to 150, right? So you missed out on about a 7.5x.
It's still sending. It's still sending, yeah.
All right, so you're only missing on a 10x so far. So far, it's a 10x. But Rodney, you just got in last night, correct?
Yes, sir, yeah.
How was that? How was it flying into the Atlanta airport? I heard it's my fiance, she has Follow Atlanta now, and they're shutting down the whole airport. Apparently, it's like, entire hallways are like 2 foot wide. What was your experience?
Well, I actually drove here from Charlottesville, Virginia. So it was an 8-hour drive, but very nice. Got to listen to some Joe Rogan on the way here. Some Joe Rogan, some my favorite cryptocurrency channels.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of cryptocurrency, let's just get right into the stories here, folks. We are going to talk about Solana in a bit, but first, let's look at the crypto market. We have Bitcoin down about 1%. Let me go ahead and hit refresh just in case we're getting a little bit fresher. All right, Bitcoin down 1%, but Ethereum is up about 2% right now. XRP down 2.5%. Solana is cooling off, folks. Solana is almost down to 5%, along with Cardano. But both of them had a positive week. Solana just had a 10 times better week than Cardano there. 38% to a 3.8% pump there. So if you're holding Solana over Cardano, you're feeling pretty good. If you're holding both, you're looking at your Cardano bag, poking it with the stick like the meme. Come on, do something. It'll happen eventually, folks. Just trust me. Then we have ChainLink down to 5.5% as well. But MATIC is up. But we look at Celestia. TIA is up. We were talking about TIA. TIA is up 25%. 125% for the week. Now, TJ, did you see any TIA action? You saw Celestia. I mean, I know it's Drew's wife's name, so he's been big on it, but he actually, I think, was talking about Celestia.
Yeah, we did a short on it a while back. We noticed it when it very first popped out. Obviously, it's strong in some of the Asian markets, a competitor, so to speak, coming out of nowhere. We're moving up very quickly through the top 100. I think it's ranked 65, 68, something like that right now. I mean, it was under 100 a week or two ago when we first covered it. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And this is something that's important that I wanted to mention on today's stream as we're getting into a new bull market. There's a lot of different ways to look at different altcoins and value different things when you're building out your portfolio. There's something to be said for projects that have been around for a little while that are going to perform into the bull market. Again, we've looked at them a lot. They're in the top 20s, top 50s. The MATICs, the Mutables, the Avalanches, the Solanas, kind of the big performers of the last cycle. However, the ones that tend to have the most explosive gains can be the things that are launching around this time, the newer things. It'll be interesting to see if that trend proves through in this cycle. But Celestia would be one of those ones that it looked like tech had been around for a while, the team had been around for a while, and they were waiting for the right time to launch to really capture attention in this bull market. So watching how those perform over the next few months, I do think is going to be key. We're going to be doing a deep dive on Celestia coming up in the next week or so. I have some of that going into the works, but watching layer ones, layer twos, and the narratives, obviously, in this cycle, I think is going to be a good strategy if you're looking to make those gains.
All right. But speaking of gains, we also have the other side of the coin, and that's the losses, folks. The biggest loser is Rollbit for the day, down 10%, and then Kronos. But if you look at the week here, The biggest loser is Trust Wallet, and then followed by XRP.
Oh no,
XRP was the number 2 loser for the week, folks. So it's just interesting to see a top 5 coin be one of the biggest losers right there. Neo as well. Neo's down now. Neo is on a video I'm working on right now. The top 5 coins out of Asia, everybody. And Neo is one of the 5, so that might be one. All right, I'll be joining in a second here, but I think it's time for us to talk a little Solana here. Now, Rodney, what are your broad thoughts on Solana? As a sign in real quick.
Yeah, well, I think that could be one of the bigger comeback stories of this next run, because really the reason why it dumped down so much, because look at everything dumped during the bear market, but the reason why it dumped down significantly was the negative association it had with Alameda Research, Sam Bankman-Fried, and stuff like that. But now that we're putting all that stuff behind us, it's probably going to recover. I mean, beside with the occasional network outages, it's actually a pretty solid project. So a lot of people bought that dip understanding that the reason why it was down wasn't because of function, it was because of the negative publicity. Just like Elon Musk going on Joe Rogan's show, smoking some, green, and then people dumping Tesla stock, even though Tesla's fine.
I always talk about that podcast. I saw that podcast, and I remember thinking, oh, wow, this guy's incredibly bright. I would want to own Tesla stock. A lot of people say,
sell it. Yeah.
Let's dump it. Well, Solana is overtaking Ethereum by active users after a 70% spike, everybody. Let's look at some of the numbers here. So this is according to Artemix. They had 356,000 unique users on Saturday, beating Ethereum's 330,000. So beat them by 26,000 right there. The milestone was driven by a sharp uptick, with the network hosting only 200,000 just 1 week ago, less than a week ago. So it was $100,000 less. For comparison, ETH consistently holds around 300 to 350, with 2 brief spikes above 400K and a surge to more than 1 million wallets. But the price of Solana has plummeted. Is this still more than 96% from 2021 high of $250? Does that sound right?
You say 96?
I don't know about
96%. Yeah, no, that's not right. Oh, at one point, when it fell to $10 in January, active addresses on the network shrank 85% from over a million, 1.28, to around 200,000 this September, according to the block. But Solana refused to stay down, and now it is up 145% just in the past 4 weeks. So everyone holding on to the profit feel good. And then some analysts have been quick to pronounce that Solana has flipped Ethereum by active users due to the recent uptick. However, the ecosystem has expanded beyond its base layer, with the majority of ETH activity now taking place on layer 2. So Solana may surpass Ethereum, but there's a giant asterisk, because if you once you incorporate layer 2 activity, well, Ethereum, the EVM as a whole, greatly surpasses Solana there. But TJ, what do you think about Solana ever surpassing Ethereum as far as being the number 1 chain? What odds would you put it less than 5%, less than 1%?
No, I think what you just said really matters there. By what metric, right?
Yeah.
So you've got transactions, you've got daily active users, you've got market cap, you've got volume. There's so many different metrics to measure a chain by. So I could see it passing it in transactions one day. That's what it's designed for, right? If you get some if you get some good games running on it, you could see it hit higher active users, higher transaction, but volume, probably not. Like DeFi is going to most likely live on Ethereum for the foreseeable future. We talked about that a little bit last week. The ecosystem really matters there. And so I think what we're seeing right now in price gains in the short term, sure, it could outperform there. And I think part of what we should talk about here today is why we saw all that price movement happening over the weekend. And I think I think you've got my screen here, BJ. You can pull it in here, but some of the factors that came up on this article on Cointelegraph, why Solana price woke up this week, it really has to do with, obviously FTX getting reopened back up. A lot of people thinking there's less likely for Alameda and what's held on the FTX balance sheet, less likely to dump. I would say in the short term, obviously when prices come up, that has a lot to do with it. And I think we've got also the great open interest popping up a lot, and also the grayscale premium going up through the roof. We shared some of that Wednesday, Thursday. A lot of times you can watch what the grayscale premium's doing, and that will foreshadow or front run how the market reacts to. They're kind of pricing in some of these movements. So Solana, again, a lot of VCs hold it. A lot of VCs are down bad on it at this point. It wouldn't be unlikely to see it get pumped up between these different institutional vehicles. And it does have a place in the system right now with the way it functions, the team, the places it's all being distributed. So I think there's a lot to watch with it. It did hit a technical breakout as well. There's really not a lot of resistance when you were looking at the chart between the prices it moved from and, up to. Now we do have in some news today about a lot of different futures markets opening. We'll probably get to it a little bit later in the show, and I think that could somewhat temper the excitement in the markets that we're seeing. When futures launched for Bitcoin and Ethereum on CME years ago, we saw that kind of took a little bit of a steam out of it because institutions are able to short and hedge their positions a little bit more. So I think as more of those futures markets open up, we could see a little bit of balance coming back into the market, a little bit take the edge off of the euphoria that a lot of us are feeling right now. But I do think there's some opportunity to get involved with some of these projects, and Solana is definitely one I'm looking at. You mentioned XRP being a little short or a little stale, I guess you could say, and we moved a little bit of XRP into some Rune over the weekend, or actually just last night, this morning. So looking for the big coins are still going to be there for swing trades. I wouldn't get too don't get too disheartened if Ethereum's not moving for you, right? Like that's a long-term play, but being able to look for some of these lower cap coins, I do think there's opportunity there. And I did want to real quick say shout out. We got Uncle Brian in the chat with the membership, and shout out to everybody in the chat. We love all of you guys. So
yeah, Brian letting us know that likes are awfully low. So if you guys want to help us out, hit that like button. Let's get that up. Solana not going to 250 ever.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. It's going to recover. And I do want to talk about the fact that, when the bull market kicks back in and people really want to start building on Solana again, NFTs were a big spot for Solana during the last run. And, seems crazy, but that Bonk meme coin, that Solana meme coin that's been absolutely sending. I mean, I think a lot of other networks are going to be open to getting in on the meme coin craze for sure.
Yeah, I didn't take many bonk profits. I should have took a lot more bonk profits. If it pops again, I'll be definitely looking to take some profits there. Now, someone said some price predictions. Well, there's ChatGPT price predictions. We'll just have a little bit of fun with this. They have price prediction 24, 28, 32, and 2050. Everybody, 2024. Optimistic scenario, $100. Skeptical scenario, $50.
No way.
Suspiciously round numbers right there. I don't know how much thought went into this one. 2028, $200. 2032, $300. 2050, $1,000. There's no way it's only 1,000 if it's still around. It's either zero or like 5,000, I would say. That would be my take there. I do want to just kind of cover the Solana Trust shares surge. We were talking about, TJ brought up a good point. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, kind of predicted what was going to happen with Bitcoin in 2021. It kind of preceded the dump in June and July, and then it preceded the pump in the second half of the year. It looks like we're seeing the same thing with the Solana premium as well. So the Grayscale Solana Trust share surge to a 784% premium there. What does this mean, though? So the shares are trading at a record $202, up from $87, with Sol at $59. But each share of the trust, which is trading for $202, holds 0.38 Solana. That's an insane premium of close to 800% there. For context, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust touched a record of 43% in July of 2019. So we're seeing a little bit of a front running here with institutional investors. But unlike the ETFs, holdings in Grayscale Trust don't directly track the market value of shares, which leads to price premiums and discounts in the products here. I do want to share, here's the important part. Bitcoin has their Bitcoin offerings. They have $23 billion there. You see $23 billion in Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Solana, it's only 6.3 million. So I think a lot of this is just, there's very finite shares here, only $6.3 million of assets under management. And so we have a 787% premium there. So whatever 8.7x is on that, that's how much money's in, because there's only so much. If they're to start custodying more Solana and offering more, you would expect that premium to plummet. But with only $6 million, there's a lot more money floating around on Wall Street than that. So that's my opinion on why we're seeing such a gigantic premium. Only $6 million to float around. People want Solana exposure.
Well, let me ask you. Somebody in the chat said, I didn't see it. Somebody said it'll never hit $250 again.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. I definitely think it can.
Will.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask if you thought it will. I mean, 258 is its all-time high from the last cycle. Do you think it will find a new all-time high in this cycle is my question.
If the recent price action's any indication, VC money can still pump this bag, folks. So I think it can. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would said, I was public. I said I expect a lot of resistance around 200. I kind of expected a pullback around 190. I think I even said 195 will probably be the top. The recent surge made me think that they can just totally render all those price targets obsolete. That they could blow past $300-400 and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things could be true too, though. It could still see very strong resistance at $200 and $250. You know, like, it's a long path. I want you guys to remember, like, it's easy to get excited when we see a lot of these, you know, alts start popping off and things really moving quickly like we've experienced over the last week or two. It's easy for that FOMO to kick back in immediately. I saw a really funny meme that was like the Braveheart thing that was like, hold when the price is going down, hold when the price is going down, and then huge pops like, buy now. And it's like, that's not really the way you're supposed to do it, but that is the way you feel when you start seeing these prices move. But I want to remind you guys, we have a lot of time, you know, if we're seeing new all-time highs for some of these alts and in, you know, price discovery for some of these things, that's going to be all the way through 2025. So we can see some push up to some of these levels and get hard rejected. I do think, you know, seeing some of the Tether print happening recently, that's another thing that usually foreshadows a good run. I think they printed $4 billion worth of Tether. And, you know, so there's definitely things you can use as foreshadowing indicators. But don't, you know, it's a long path. You can pump up, pull back, and you want those healthy pullbacks. So don't feel like you're missing it all right now, you know, as things start to get exciting, because, you know, it's phases of the market for sure.
You know, let me just say to Carolina, I honestly don't believe VCs are buying at these prices. I don't think VCs want to put any kind of serious investment into Solana at these prices. But when there's only $6 million in assets, if you have $1 trillion, what is it to send $2 million Grayscale Solana away? It's a drop in the bucket. It's really nothing. So I really just want to double down on there's only $6 million in assets. Very, very small amount of shares to float around for all the people who want it.
Yeah, and I am in the camp of just because something hit an all-time high before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And we saw that with Bitcoin Cash, right? Bitcoin Cash peaked 2017. Didn't really do much in it did much in 2021, but not what it used to do. But I do think Solana is going to be one of those winners. And yeah, I mean, as the entire cryptocurrency market cap goes,
you got it right.
Market cap grows. I mean, the larger these market caps can go for these top cryptos, you know.
All right. Well, speaking of the top cryptos, we got this Academy. And it's like a lab-like precision. They're diving down into these coins. In fact, we even have a resident lab geek in there right now, our favorite D&G. What is going on, Kelly? How are you doing today? I just saw, it looked like Big Pay floating around. Someone with long blonde hair, curly. Where'd that person go?
Oh, he's around. He just fell out. He just fell out of his chair. Say what's up.
What's good, guys?
That's not Big Pay.
What's going on there? Kind of hurt a lot, actually.
That's Patrick.
You know what? He was racing to open a leverage long, and that's what happens. Sometimes you fall down.
We got you know, I'm feeling good. You know, markets, they're finally doing things that are exciting, but it doesn't mean things just move nonstop. If it does, it makes you want to look for a little bit of a pullback. But we're seeing Solana push up, you know, massive levels. AVAX had some great moves this week. ChainLink. In the Discord, for everybody that's watching right now, get in the Discord in the open chat area. I'll point it out right here in the discovery zone. I pointed out yesterday at about 1 o'clock, I said, look for the longer trend line on the 4 hour. Somebody had drawn something here and I was just giving some feedback. Breakdown point is about 1570. And when we're looking over here on ChainLink, we're going to look at some Solana too. When we look at ChainLink, that's not ChainLink. It's somewhere.
All right. Why are you looking at that? A quick shout out to Mrs. Crimson Caravan. She won't be with us in the morning anymore. Starting the new job. Whoop, whoop. Congrats.
Yeah. Right, shout out Miss Crimson Caravan. Can you not hear me? Hello. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. No, I was just talking about on ChainLink. I was talking about that 1570 mark. If we look at the 2 hour time frame here, we have this pretty decent support line that's established all the way back November 2nd. And I pointed out yesterday when price was somewhere over in here, watching for this breakdown. Price pushed up a little higher. Some people probably thought, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what happens? Price comes right back down. And so what does this mean? We got a bit of a choppy top here. It sounds like a new hip hop record, choppy top. But it looks like, you know, I'm watching for price action to, if it cannot hold in this region, likely come back down here into the 13s. We're getting a lot of bearish divergences on the BitLab, Trend Fuel, stochastics, all these different indicators here. In fact, also, if we look over here on Lux Algo, we can see that we had a bit of a bearish divergence here as well, where we have on the oscillator premium here, this high and this lower high. So we're seeing signs of a pullback before it happened. That's what the point of using different types of indicators and different types of data points. Looking at Bitcoin, man, we came right up to that level. What is that level? $37,600. What is that? Previous lows of a range. If you're ever wondering where price may have a little bit of a hurdle, look at the previous zones of where price either bounced on support or found resistance on. And we can see that this is exactly where price is sitting at right. And so does this mean that we're not going to push up? No, I think we still could. I think signs right now are suggesting that we may have a little bit of a cool off. Now, another thing in conjunction with this, Kevin Svensson posted this, 31,000 right in here. Big pullback. That's that zone I kept telling people about. But there's two things everybody's looking at on the price right now. They're looking at higher and lower, but there's still a possibility for price action just to chop sideways and just really, it could come back down to 35,000, come back up here, 36, chopping sideways into the range. Because when we look, by the way, if you guys did not watch that interview with the Rational Root over on Discover Crypto and on BitLab, go check it out. But the point here is this is a chart from his platform here. The short-term holder cost basis is coming up very quickly. And if we can see that's this line right here flashing, if the price holds up in this zone, the short-term holder cost basis very well may come up above this $31,000 level, which is something that we'll want to see, because if price action pulls back and finds support on the short-term holder cost basis and these previous highs, or if this comes all the way up over into this region and just holds up here, this is going to be ultimately bullish into the long term, because we are pushing up on what's, essentially the fair value zone, which is $42,000. We're coming right in near it. Now we have two different opportunities here. On 2019, we broke above it, had a big flash in the pan, bull trap, and then came back down. Scared a lot of people. In 2016, 2015, we pushed up against it, and this is what I'm talking about right here. We had this sideways price action with a small pump up into the halving. So there's not going to be an absolute outlined exact thing that we can predict what's going to happen between now and the halving, especially with all these ETFs. But things are looking bullish. If you want to get more involved, come over to the Discord, get involved here, and make sure that you are checking out bitlabacademy.com. Join us over there. I think you can still use Give Me 30 for 30% off your first month. So come and join us. And nice. Yeah, I just want everybody to stay careful.
You just said we can't give any kind of exact prediction. Well, Kelly, I want to ask you an exact prediction. Let's guess. I'll lead it. Let's go ahead and say an exact percentage on the pullback. I think we both expect a pullback. I've gone publicly and said I expect a 33% pullback. I don't know when the high is going to be. I'm saying 33. What do you say?
33%. Let's see where that 50%. Let's see where that. I want to see what price level that would be at. That price level would be 33%. Would be
no, maybe it's from 42. I'm not saying it's today, but I'm expecting a 33. But if it were today, it'd be around $24,000. If we push up to the 47, like a lot of people want it to, then that would be roughly that would be right at 31.8. So either way, those are both two key levels that we could pull back to. But as it stands right now, just stay patient. Don't feel like you missed the boat. Let the market come to you. Don't jump in on a green candle. Watch for pullbacks. Things are looking good. Things are looking bullish. And Solana is pushing hard. So be a little careful there. But I'm just feeling good. Throw one in chat if you're feeling good about the market finally moving. All right. And Kelly, anything else you want to add, man? Always a great time.
No, that's it. Hope good to see Rodney back, and you guys continue on with the show. Thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah, Solana is pushing, like you said. And guys, make sure you go ahead, push that like button. Push that like button as well. And now we're going to go ahead and push on over to wait a minute.
No, I was just going to say Ethereum's actually moving right now too. It's on a little bit of a pump. It's up back over 2,100 again. So that's just always interesting to look at. On that pullback scenario, we'll get into. I have actually a pretty interesting bearish scenario that I could end up playing out that we could look at a little bit later in the show. But go ahead and let's keep moving through the news, and we'll touch on that a little bit later, because it does have to do with some of the future stuff coming out right now.
All right, everyone knows I like the 1 minute chart. This is the 15-minute chart that I got pulled up on ETH right now, so you can see. Yeah, it has been off to the races. Wait a minute, let me move it over.
Whoa,
yeah, look at that 15-minute chart. The 1 hour actually looks pretty good too. If we go to the 1 hour, look at the 1 hour candles right there, folks. Yeah. Nice little teleport to the upside.
Well, and again, that's why I want to say be careful chasing these gains too often, because you see stuff like that move and it's like, oh, Ethereum was boring over the weekend, all these other things moved. I'm going to sell my ETH and get into this. And then all of a sudden, Ethereum starts moving and the coin you bought at the top maybe is now pulling back. And so just be careful not to overtrade and know the difference between a day trade and a swing trade and a leverage trade, because if you're treating all trades the same, that's the fastest way to get wrecked in a bull market. So.
And this is representing about a $60 pump right here. $2,040 about 2,100 right there.
Over 2,000 just been great, man. That ETF shook me last week.
Yeah, it's good.
Goodness, yeah.
Did you feel that you had enough ETH when it happened?
Absolutely not. I got to buy more because, what's the focus has been on Bitcoin the last 6 months with these whole spot Bitcoin ETFs. And it's good to see, Ethereum get some love, man,
I'm with it. That's most of what we hold right now is Ethereum. Yes. So I was very happy to see it.
I have, once you include my NFTs, I have more Ethereum than everything. Just the coins, I have more Cardano. Yeah. All right, let's look at Bitcoin millionaires here. Let's talk about the orange coin as well. 60,000 Bitcoin millionaires emerged in 2023. 3x the number that there was in January. So looks like there's 20,000 at one point. So we've been growing everybody. No, it's added 60. So it was 20 and now is close to 90,000 Bitcoin billionaires there. So congrats. Pat yourself on the back if you got, what do you need at these levels? 330. You need about 30, a little bit less, 29, 28. So pat yourself on the back if you got 28, 29 Bitcoin. I don't have that many.
That's a pretty good stack right there.
I'd feel good if I had that much. All right, Satoshi Nakamoto explaining Bitcoin's biggest scientific breakthrough at $0 exactly 15 years ago. One day it will win the Nobel Prize. Wow. I just want to bounce this idea off you guys, chat, and you too as well. Can Bitcoin win the Nobel Prize in economics? They have to give it maybe posthumously. We don't even know. It'd be given anonymous or pseudonymously. It is deserving, I would say.
Has that ever happened before? I wonder. Let me look.
No.
I don't know. But you know what? When you think about because I think it's easy to get caught in the day-to-day, stuff with altcoins and stuff. But if you think about the bigger picture with Bitcoin, it's about, pretty much sticking it to the man, right? The government controls everyone with, fiat currency, right? And the truth is, not a lot of people have access to bank accounts, and most people have access to phones. And as long as you have an internet connection, you can use Bitcoin to trade goods and services. It's decentralized. That you can't put more of it just because you want to, pump your economy. So I think that, that's definitely a possibility in the future.
I'll say this: the people who tell me Bitcoin is a scam,
crazy.
They tend to have a nicer life, more of a nerf life, and it's the people who come from the better off parents are further removed from a need for Bitcoin. So it's the better you were raised, the more outside of the box thinking you have to do to even realize where there is an actual dire need for Bitcoin, because there's people who have to, flee as a refugee with what they have on them. And, we can make jokes about where you can shove some diamonds, but it's a lot better to just have a Bitcoin seed phrase stored in your head, folks. That's my 2 cents there. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, we also have gold. People love gold. Boo. Shout out to Peter Schiff here. Bitcoin registers 93% surge against gold in 2023 amid large-scale selling, liquidity slipping. So 93% appreciation relative to gold there in 2023, while ETH is only 40%. In gold terms there. Strong performance comes amidst increasing global uncertainty, likely catching the eye of many traditional investors. I am surprised that gold is 100% premium for Bitcoin relative to gold, but ETH is only 39%. What is up with that? ETH has only gained 40% against gold in 2023. TJ, 2024 prediction. Is it going to outperform gold? And what's that number looking like?
Yeah, 2024, obviously Ethereum hasn't moved nearly as much as the rest of the market right now against Bitcoin or gold. Obviously, comparing Bitcoin against gold is one metric, but comparing all altcoins against Bitcoin is a thing that a lot of people like to do in this market. I do think we will see Ethereum catch up on its ETH or BTC to ETH ratio dramatically as we move forward, into the next bull market. But it's going to be post-halving, right? Bitcoin is the main star of the show specifically for the next probably 8 months. We're going to see altcoins have their moments, but it's going to be very similar to what we just experienced. big run up for Bitcoin. When Bitcoin finds an area to plateau, like again, it's been getting rejected off of 38 and it's kind of holding in this little range, or 37 right now. When it goes trade sideways for a little while, you see, okay, random alt 1 pops off, and 2 and 3 and 4, and then you start to see these altcoins moving. And then if Bitcoin pulls back a little bit, we see the alts kind of move back into their range. And then when Bitcoin moves up again, we kind of start the cycle over. That just happened, but we didn't see Ethereum have its big dramatic move just yet, like a lot of the other ones did. I mean, it got above 2,000 with the ETF news. If it's above 2,100, that's great. It's going to have to break some other key levels, 24, 25, before we start to see it really taking off. And I think that will happen post having, and again, through second half of 24 into 2025 is when you're going to see a lot of the altcoins really pump against Bitcoin. But with the Bitcoin spot ETF coming at the same time, I think we're going to see Bitcoin making some very parabolic moves. So I do think Ethereum will catch up on that ratio, definitely against gold. I mean, gold is, pretty flat and boring for the most part compared to crypto. I mean, it's been around a long time. Most interesting thing that happened to gold was BlackRock's gold ETF back in the 2000s. So if anything like the past is going to happen with BlackRock's Bitcoin spot ETF and now potentially Ethereum spot ETF, yes, Bitcoin will run dramatically. Yes, Ethereum will catch up on that range. And yes, maybe we will all be millionaires in 2025.
I'll say this, TJ and Rodney, what do you think on this theory here? We've seen this traditionally in previous bull markets where ETH pumps literally to the day 1 month after Bitcoin. And then sometimes towards the end of the market, that month gulf ends up narrowing. Sometimes it gets as low as about a week or so. Will we see the same thing? I actually pulled up Bitcoin's 30-day chart. If that scenario plays out again, we are just about to witness insane phase for Ethereum, because this is kind of the beginning of the run-up. Oh, yeah, the pullback, everybody, open your shorts, open your shorts. And then we considered this a good short squeeze. Oh, pullback, Bart Simpson is going to drop back down. And then we just seen, once you zoom out on this 30-day, a slow and steady movement up and to the right. Will Ethereum's chart look like this 30 days from now? I'm leaning more likely than not. I'm thinking this is going to be I think November will be the month for ETH. And then, Bitcoin maybe pull back a little bit. Now, this is just broad, general, synopsis. I haven't looked at, I don't have any kind of magic clue. No one's sending me a special message from, Mr. Grok or Mr. X, some would call him. So I don't have any secret messages here, folks. That's just, what do you guys think of that, though?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, when it comes to Bitcoin's kind of been out of like the crosshairs of the SEC, you know what I mean? And so, although we know with the whole ETHgate thing that ETH may be being favorited by you regulators, you could say, it's still kind of dangerous if you look at it from the outside perspective. But now with this Ethereum ETF, it's kind of like a stamp of approval, and we can get some older money, you could say, because a lot of the there's a lot of people that are older that are not invested in the crypto. This could be some sort of stamp of approval, and I think that it kind of matches up perfectly. Ethereum pumps 1 month after Bitcoin. It's been 6 months or so since there were talks about the Bitcoin ETF. I think that with this new Ethereum ETF, I think that just kind of I absolutely think it's going to send. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was going to say, I think it will, but with a big if Bitcoin doesn't pull back, right? So if Bitcoin pulls back, we're not going to see Ethereum run with Bitcoin pulling back. If Bitcoin can hold this range, there's some space there for Ethereum to kind of leg up a little bit. And but we'll get into it a little bit later. I do see some factors in play that could be kind of tempering the markets, at least in the short term. So we'll see.
When Solana was 10, that was the most bearish period, Rocky Bobby. I'm trying to think, what were we recommending? We were saying go a little safer. We were going a little bit safer. Solana at $10 was extremely fuddish for Solana. $1 was looking almost as likely as $100 when it was at the $10 level. At those levels, I was buying ETH, Cardano, and Bitcoin. Now, I should have bought more Solana than Cardano. I'll go ahead and admit it. Rocky Bobby, you are right. We should have been buying Solana at $10.
Yeah,
what were you looking at during that period?
I was looking at Rune and ChainLink.
Rune and ChainLink. Yeah. Oh, that's also a good one. Good one. What about you?
I was looking at Avalanche, BNB, and Solana because I knew that there's nothing wrong with Solana's like function. It was just the negative publicity.
And my speculative investments were Cardano DeFi, which it would have been great if I waited 6 months on that. I was a little bit ahead of the curve on Cardano DeFi. Still had a little bit room to drop there. But we have Ethereum daily revenue soaring, everybody, to a 4-month high of $10 million. So we're getting closer and closer to these bullish periods here. So exploded past $2,000 here. And a 401 Capital, the chief investment officer there, observed that the platform's average daily revenue surged to the highest level in 4 months. Looks like ETH is generating $10 million in daily revenue, extending gains from what we've seen previously here. And this is with the price above $2,000, and the revenue is rising for 9 month, November 9 highs here. All right. Also on ETH, L2 here, Polygon price reacts to a 3,800% surge in whale activity. That's a pretty big surge in whale activity, everybody. So this is from Into the Block. They're saying whale demand has picked up strongly for MATIC. Let's see. MATIC is recording a 3,800% spike in the volume of transactions over $100,000. So we're talking about some pretty large transactions here and a pretty large spike there. I would say a 39x, close to a 40x. So we're seeing a 40x on 100K transfers. That's more than just the 20% price, everybody. You know, 20% price pump. Oh, we're going to see more wallets hit 100K. This is an insane surge. 40x to me. I don't think this is degens in the basement. I don't think this is NFT traders. I feel like this is institutions gearing up. So is MATIC the next Solana? Ooh, I feel like I don't have enough MATIC now. I'm about to market buy MATIC here. I'm not kidding.
I like that pick. I mean, we see MATIC up 5% on the day, 25% on the week. It's lagging a little bit behind a lot of the other coins that moved big over the weekend. MATIC, another one, I believe there's a Grayscale trust for MATIC as well. I think so. I have to double check me on that. But seeing the institutions starting to load up on all of these coins, it's seeding some of these funds. I think they're starting to realize like, oh, hey, wait a minute, we can go buy all these things, hold them under our management, sell them to our clients, collect management fees. Like that is the playbook that BlackRock has. The higher the price goes, the more they get on the management fees. And we're seeing huge amounts of buys. We were talking about it on Friday. Even all the Bitcoin buys looks like seeding a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now all these Ethereum buys could be seeding institutional accounts on Ethereum. The more we see institutions getting involved in this space, the more we're going to see things pump over the long term. Again, this is a long cycle, so don't get too much FOMO right now. Yeah. But yes, now is the time you need to be accumulating all of your favorite coins from the top 10 all the way down to outside the top 200, depending on how degen you want to get. So.
All right, I just bought a little. Just a couple lunch worth, not a whole lot. Expensive lunch, but it's a lunch.
I'm tapped into the meme coin space too, but I mean, people are buying ETH a lot right now to get into a lot of these small cap plays, and like you said, it's probably institutional money. But I do think right now people are remembering why they have gripes with Ethereum because it's so expensive and clunky sometimes, and so you have MATIC, which is a solution to that. So I think a lot of people are remembering why MATIC exists and why it's here. And there was one point last year where MATIC was kind of dominating all cryptos when it came to year-to-date price action when everything was down in the dumps. So
absolutely.
And during that bearish period, they had the most biz dev activity. They're just slowly rolling out more partnerships, and not just small. Oh yeah, indie game studio. No, we're talking like Starbucks, stuff like that. Yeah. Well, look at this whale wallet stat that I found. Wallets containing 100K to 10 million MATIC have accumulated 42 million coins. There's 161 MATIC transactions of 100K or more, the most since July. So going back 4 months, everybody. Wow. So 42 million have been accumulated by the whales. How much have you accumulated?
Well, Jeremiah Dixon, I guess, was inspired by you. He said he'll buy some too. So there you go.
All right. Well, hope we feel pretty good about that. I almost thought about trading out of a coin that's up, but you know what? Now, I don't. There's really nothing I wanted to take profits on.
Just get your dollars in.
Exactly.
Here's Johnny was found this pretty fascinating. I think it's pretty cool. We'll have to see how it's implemented. Send crypto to a Gmail account. New zero knowledge tech has been revealed here. Bonsai Pay launches a new testnet version of a ZK protected escrow to allow seamless ETH sending to Google accounts. Let's see. It's an open source ZK powered payments platform designed to allow every Gmail user to receive Ethereum in payments, and it's landed to the Sepolia testnet. So it's in testnet right now, and it's a new gen way to replace sophisticated wallet addresses with familiar email contacts.
Interesting.
This is transferred via an escrow contract created on the ETH network. They can retrieve assets from this escrow just by logging into Gmail and generating a zero knowledge proof. This is what we're going to need for mainstream adoption. We're going to need people to get crypto in their existing app. Okay, we don't need to seed phrase, I'm out. That's 80% of people. And we're all like, seed phrase, I better be careful.
Yeah.
That's not most people. No. Most people I lose everything. I'm freaked out and I don't want anything to do with it. Jimmy, get away from me at this Thanksgiving table. I don't want your scam token.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to say to you. And so we're going to need things like Gmail implementation. To me, this is one of the most user normie friendly things I've seen since Starbucks card. It's up there with Starbucks card. Those who don't know, this Starbucks card is just great.
No, I would agree when it comes to ZKs. Like we've heard, if you've heard about zero knowledge proofs a lot, ZKs are going to be a big narrative through this next bull market for exactly the reason that DZ says. It will allow a lot of different interactions and implementations across different applications that don't require the holder of those applications or the author of those applications to hold a lot of your private data. So you can sync and connect things with a lot less risk, whether it's customer data risk, whether it's financial data risk, a variety of different things. And seeing those, whether it's on a layer 2, whether it's like something like Mina that has it built in, a lot of these zero knowledge chains add a lot of different functionality and implementation that's going to allow crypto and Web3 applications to really level up when it comes to user adoption. And I do think it's going to be a big part of what sets off this next cycle.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely fantastic. I think that anything that makes it easier for normies to get in crypto is great. And the fact that, your data's private and stuff like that will also kind of, be appealing to the crypto bros too. So I love it.
Let's see here. I don't, not putting my crypto in Google, LOL. Let me tell you what normie people are thinking.
I don't care.
Not having crypto in my Google wallet. Oh, you mean I have to write down secret words and turn on a VPN and then plug this thing in and open my safe? LOL.
Yeah.
They think what you're doing is stupid. What we're doing is stupid. Okay. We just got to wrap our heads around that. Yeah. We know it's more secure. Our way is the better way. So we don't get hacked and, less likely to have less attack vectors. But that's a turnoff for most people. We just have to understand that.
Well, and you have to open up your mind to different applications of crypto too, right? And there's investing, you're not going to put your Bitcoin on a Gmail, application necessarily, right?
I'm putting everything on there, TJ. I'm putting my ape on there.
Right. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, hey, if you want to use this new Web3 application, you load $100 in through this extension, and now you can do it with ease of access, kind of like you would on a MetaMask. But again, even with MetaMask, you go connecting it to all these different sites and you accidentally connect the wrong one that has too much stuff in it and somebody gets drained. That does sound crazy to most normal people. So the simpler and easier the user experience is, the more often we're going to see, again, if you want PlayFi to take off, if you want GameFi, SocialFi, all these other applications of DeFi products to actually get adoption, it needs to be easier. We're seeing that happen, which is encouraging. But again, you have to say okay, what am I doing? Am I investing? Okay, am I playing with DeFi? That's something over here with Ethereum. If I'm putting hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens or 20s or whatever you do, $2,000, whatever's a lot to you, you're going to custody that in one way versus, okay, I'm going to play a game and I want to use this as gas, as a feature within something. It's going to be a totally different application or implementation, different blockchain, different application. And so getting your head in that mindset of what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And how is this going to impact the greater ecosystem? I think is the best way to make gains in crypto. You really have to understand how all the chains interact with each other. I don't know if we've got it in the show. That's part of why I got excited about Rune and ThorChain much, much earlier than a lot of other people did, because it's okay, wait a minute, they're doing something different, right? I saw somebody in the chat asking about Lido a little bit earlier in the show saying, hey, let's look at Lido. And basically that is a, synthetic Ethereum staking platform where you can put some Ethereum on there, get back synthetic Ethereum, or still be able to use your Ethereum while it's earning within the ETH2 ecosystem. ThorChain was one of the first DEXs that would actually allow you to do cross-chain swaps with native Bitcoin and native Ethereum, meaning it had multi-chain without having to give you a synthetic Ethereum. You were actually trading real Ethereum and actually trading real Bitcoin on one chain. It was new, it was unique, it was different, it was a technological advancement. Even though they had some hiccups at the beginning with bridges and hacks and some of that stuff, they were doing something different that will impact the greater ecosystem. But if you didn't understand the difference between the Lidos and all of these others, liquid staking derivative platforms and what made ThorChain unique, then it was very hard for you to see the value and the opportunity there. So that's why I really encourage everybody, understand the chain, learn. You have to, if you're new here, you have to understand the basics of Bitcoin and why it matters. You have to understand the basics of Ethereum and smart contracts and DeFi and how they interact before you start going 10 layers deep into some random DeFi application built on some chain that you don't really understand. You have what makes Cosmos unique, what makes Avalanche unique, what makes Polkadot unique, what are they doing differently, how do they interact with each other. We talked a little bit about the Cardano Polkadot partnership. If you don't understand Cardano and you don't understand Polkadot, you're really not going to understand why using the same, Polkadot's SDK matters. So I would encourage all of you, now is the time to educate yourself. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but just do it.
You hear a Polkadot substrate and you're like, wait, so my sandwich is in a straight line and there's dots. What are we even talking about?
Shout out to any of the old OGs that remember Substratum back in the day. One of the biggest scams, and there used to be somebody that would always come to a meetup. Gaston, if you're out there, you know who I'm talking about. There was a guy that would come to every SoCal meetup pitching Substratum so hard.
In-person shillers, love it.
And you didn't know how many different ways you can tell him, like, bro, like, it's not coming back.
Yeah. You know what he needed? He needed a Moody's rating on that coin. Let's talk about the Moody's rating. It just turned negative on U.S. credit, drawing Washington ire.
Oh boy!
Ooh, I hate it when it draws their ire, because their ire could be fire. I know my rhymes just make you feel tired, but Moody's on Friday lowered its outlook on U.S. rating to negative from stable, citing. Love it.
Can't imagine why,
Yeah, I wonder why. Could it be that looming debt crisis?
Yeah, $33 trillion.
Our fiasco here. Citing large fiscal deficits and a decline in debt affordability, a move that drew immediate criticism from President Joe's administration. My favorite debt stat that I learned last week, I shared it on the show. 1 week of debt payments is the entirety of NASA's budget. So that's great. 52 weeks.
That's kind of one of the things that scares me about this bullish crypto momentum and sentiment. It's like student loans just resumed and the credit card debt's really high right now. And it seems like the macroeconomic situation isn't looking so good.
It's looking terrible, because here we have this positive feedback loop here. This is the chief economist for the U.S. at Nataxis, I think. Deficits will remain large, and as interest costs take up a larger share of the budget, the debt burden will continue to grow, which then creates a larger debt payment, which then makes the debt grow, which then makes a larger debt. And then it's just a cascading situation as debt grows and grows and grows out of our ability to pay it down. Any type of significant response that we might be able to see in this declining fiscal strength probably won't happen until 2025. Because of the reality of the political calendar next year. They're not going to want to tighten the belt during an election season. No. So that's just not going to happen. They're not going to practice fiscal responsibility leading up to the election, because you'll feel it at the grocery store, you'll feel it at the gas pump. And so they'd rather drive our economy off a cliff rather than you feel uncomfortable in the seatbelt. Next thing you know, we're free falling, folks. That's the future that we're heading for. I like that analogy. I'm a tweet that one out. Let's talk about Japan here. Japan's U.S. corporate bond.
Did you hit the El Salvador stuff too? Did I miss it?
No, I didn't see it in here just yet.
I thought it was interesting. So Moody's, they downgraded the United States, which obviously not a big shock there. We're seeing that reflected in the Treasury bond market. Nobody's really taken long-term bets on the U.S. Economy. But also simultaneously, well, I guess they didn't technically downgrade them. They're still AAA. They just downgraded their outlook on them. But El Salvador actually did get an actual upgrade. So El Salvador adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet last year, they moved from CCC plus to actually B minus. So I do think this is going to be an ongoing trend we see around the world. The nations that are adopting Bitcoin sooner rather than later have an opportunity to climb the global ranks when it comes to economic standing. We know the powerhouses right now have to print a lot of money. Both U.S. and China, Japan, all around the world, money printers are about to get cranked up. The nations that are able to accumulate Bitcoin now, I do think this is going to be a 10-year trend that goes on for quite some time. So when you're seeing ratings agencies, when you're seeing the treasury markets reflect these things, it's showing up in the markets, right? The markets don't lie. The money flows to where the value is. It might delay a little bit at times. It might be a little bit irrational, but we can see where the Bitcoin accumulates, there the value is flowing. So just something to keep in mind.
They raised Central American nations' debt rating to B minus from C++ on Tuesday of last week. So El Salvador on the come up. All right, Japan, U.S. corporate bond sell-off brings risks. Credit Weekly here. Credit managers nervously awaiting data that will show whether Japanese pullback from U.S. bonds in August was a blip or the beginning of a trend. Let's see, they're traditionally among the biggest buyers of U.S. corporate bonds and could reduce global market liquidity and increase the risk of volatility. Investors sold a record net $17 billion of U.S. corporate debt in August. This is the highest hedging cost in more than 20 years, makes securities less attractive. So they dumped $17 billion in August, and we'll soon get September data. Hopefully, it's not as alarming. That would not be great, everybody. Let's see. I do want to cover. Let's get into it. What else do we got? We got the ADA partnerships. That's going to be huge, folks. I do want to touch on this. We talked about Tether printing $4 billion worth of USDT. In 2023 and plans for a new 2024 project. So $4 billion in just 1 month. Oftentimes we see that right now. In 2023, Tether made $22 billion USDT. What do you think of this fact, TJ? Mostly on Tron.
I thought that was interesting, right? We saw it move, and actually, this was something Rodney and I were talking about. We might be putting out a longer form video about, Justin Sun, Huobi, some of the movements he's got with Justlin. We've touched on it a little bit. It's very interesting. He's moving a lot of Tether around, and I think you did just say 18% of the Tether printed this year was what was printed last month. That's not uncommon that when we see a large Tether print, we see DeFi stuff moving around. What's causing it to print and why, and the ethics behind some of that can be quite fascinating sometime. There's definitely a battle between USDC and USDT that's been happening for the last several years. One is, USDC, obviously the US-based USDT has been around a lot longer and has a lot more Asian influence behind it. So that's fascinating to see that it's all going on.
I'm covering the top 5 coins out of China that could pump off Asian markets. Tron might be one of the 5. There you go. Trump added $8 trillion to our debt. No one printed more money than him. Yes, that is true. That is an overlooked fact. I'm a little more forgiving of printing money in 2020 versus 23.
I was going to say, if you go back and look, it's actually everybody's printed more than the person before. It's literally just inflation. So it's not like it has no side with no matter what administration. Every administration spends more than the last. So
what about Clinton in a deficit? Or a surplus?
Still more than the one before.
Spent more, but I guess he raised more revenue via tax as well.
The internet basically came into play in the 2000s, and so the economy boomed. But you're still spending more, printing more. The dollar's going down in value. You're creating more dollars, but it's if you go back and look at the history, spending never goes down.
Yeah. All right. Makes a lot of sense there. Let's see. Catch them all. Men lie, women lie, markets never lie. All right. Let's talk about Cardano founder here. Charles Hoskinson. Did you guys see the AI photo of Charles?
Yeah, just like is the one who
I might try to find that at some point. Yeah, an article made an AI Charles over the weekend, and it is the worst Charles Hoskinson.
Let me see if I can find it.
You're gonna want. It looks like Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows, or the guy that replies toilet paper on The Office. You can't hear that well.
I just saw the one where there's like a big green candle. He's like screaming into his mic.
That one's funny
that's
too.
A great one. Yeah.
Cardano founder eyes partnership with Kraken. What?
Ooh.
For a new layer 2 blockchain project. I know Johnny's pretty bullish on this. He thinks it could happen. The founder of Cardano recently expressed interest in partnering with Kraken, major U.S. cryptocurrency exchange, to build its layer 2 blockchain network. Kraken is looking to seek a blockchain developer to have a base layer 2, kind of like Base. Wait a minute. Is that where they got the name? Oh, no, it's Coinbase. Well, this strategy not only opens up potential new revenue streams, but also solidifies their standing in the rapidly evolving digital currency market. Kraken is currently considering several leading blockchain technology firms, including the likes of Polygon and Matter Labs. It's not clear whether or not Cardano will ultimately make the cut. I think it would be IOG ends up bootstrapping that project there. What do you guys think? Chat, what do you think? Do they have a shot of being the base layer 2? Or is it going to go to one of the major players that's just going to work within like a EVM capabilities there? I think it's going to be EVM, if I had to guess.
I think that this is like just some excitement too for Cardano. Cardano, I've been calling it with a little enye, for the Cardano guys, because to be honest, it's been kind of, the top 10 crypto, but it's been so boring for them, And I think this is some excitement to give to them, something to look forward to, since we know they had a huge flop with their stablecoin. And
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. What's more interesting to me is seeing some of the OG players starting to partner up. We covered last week Gavin Wood and Charles, Polkadot and Cardano, again, two co-founders of Ethereum originally, now potentially working together. Now we see Jesse Powell, who's been around, Kraken, I think, launched in 2011. They've been around the space a long time. They know what it needs, how to get things done. So this is fascinating to me to see them aligning. Will it actually play out? We'll see. I mean, we do know, MATIC, a lot of the ones we've talked about, MATIC, Optimism, Arbitrum, Base, they've got a pretty big head start. But Kraken, they have been around. They know what they're doing. It is pretty interesting. I did want to come back to it. Somebody did put it in there. The only presidents to not spend more than the previous president was Warren G. Harding and Calvin Coolidge. So there you go. Those are the two.
Deep cuts.
Yeah, going deep. So
I would say those are deep cuts.
Yeah.
Speaking of deep cut, I found one. This isn't even the famous one. They're just making fun of it here.
Oh my God, I almost spit my drink out. I almost spit my drink all over my computer.
So that's
Poor
some of the fake Charles.
That is terrible.
Oh man, that doesn't even look like
that's like worse. That's something like his worst enemy has to be making.
Oh man,
that's bad.
so I might try to find one or two more. I had a pretty good fun time looking at that one.
We love you, Charles. We know you don't look like that.
Just
give us the Falcon picture. That's the Charles I love.
All right, let's talk about Rodney's one of his coins here that he's a fan of. When I was looking at my Coinbase market buying a little MATIC, I saw, hey, I got a little Avalanche still.
Yes, Avalanche.
I guess you stake it, it's like up 0.14 or something.
Yeah.
Avalanche shines with a 31% rally. Can the bulls maintain the push to $22?
Yeah.
So it looked like it hit a yearly low of $8.78 in late September, forming the bottom for a trend reversal. What were your feelings, Rodney, when you're seeing that basically all-time low or the yearly low in late September? Were you feeling bearish? Or were you feeling like, you know what? Things turn around.
No, because one of the biggest dapps on there was something. It was called a DAO called Time Wonderland, which had some pretty much one of the known crypto scammers, you could say, Sifu, who was involved in the collapse of the Quadriga exchange in Canada in 2019.
Deep cut.
He was shown to be their. He was doxxed by Zach XBT. Shout out to Zach. For being their chief financial officer. I mean, if you get that guy's by your money, I mean, it's a scam. So that really brought it down. So more negative publicity. But same thing with Solana. The function's fine. Yeah, their main decentralized exchange right now is getting sued by Trader Joe. Do you guys know about that?
We covered that.
So that's more negative publicity. But still, I think that the function is okay. Like it's going to run again. And now with all these, Star Arena and other platforms being built on it, I think it's bullish going into the next run.
And they had some other positive partnerships as well too. I want to say Amazon Labs partnered with them and some of that stuff. So again, watching when you get through the bear market, to Rodney's point, and bad news has very dramatic effects on the price, but the technology is still good, and that's for you to determine. That's why I say you need to do your research on the different projects and coins. But a lot of these layer ones we saw do very well in the last cycle. Avalanche, Polkadot, Cardano, Cosmos, a lot of the smart contract platforms are still, they still need a home, and each one will find kind of their premium use case. I think Ethereum has a lot of the DeFi stuff down, but there's a lot of other applications when it comes to smart contract platforms. So where the market settles in, there's going to be a lot of opportunity, even within the top 20, 30 coins right now. Yeah.
Catch the ball. What's the one finance coin last bull run that outpriced Bitcoin? Was it Compound or Maker were pretty high? I don't know if they're more expensive. I kind of, was it YFI? Maybe?
YFI did really well. YFI had a random pump over the weekend. I was like, why is YFI
people
pumping?
in chat were talking about it. Well, I pulled up Avalanche's all-time price chart here just on CoinGecko.
100.
Hit all-time high right near, I think it was closer to 140 really.
Yeah.
What do you see for the next bull run?
Oh, I think it's going to smash through that.
Smash through?
100%. Yeah.
Smash through. Okay, so if let's just say it hits 150. Now, we're saying it could smash through, but if it does 150, you're looking at a little under 10x, about a 9x right there.
Yeah.
9x feel like FUD?
No, I think that's a great. I think for all-time highs, though, I'm thinking like 200, 250, something like that. I think that
I always like it when
out.
people are like, 1,000% gain is FUD. 100x is FUD.
No.
Sheep to a penny? FUD.
Get out of here. It doesn't make market cap size. It's all about market. Stop looking at price, market cap size.
I will say 100x is a lot less common than people like to pretend it is in this space.
Yeah.
10, 20, 30s all day long, but 100, that's... You can, if you buy at the bottom, yes. But like what happens a lot of times, you see, like it will 100x from the very bottom, but once it 2x's from there, like people don't realize 100x after 2x, Way harder.
Even Cardano spent a long time at 2 cents, and then it went to $3. So people famously, that's the 150x. Well, a lot of the time it was like 2.9 cents, not 2.0.
Only
if you're at 3 cents, that's only a 50x.
Only in crypto is a 10x like bad.
Yeah.
Only in crypto.
And that's so. This is what I actually have a question for you guys on this, because I do agree. A lot of these top 30 coins right now, they're pretty safe bets. A lot of these smart contract platforms to at least very much approach, if not blast through their all-time highs, which are 10x's from here, which seems like very easy money. So what do you say to, or what's the strategy? Do you go deep below that, or are you just trying to sit and wait and be patient and just watch them ride? Or are you moving things around all the time? Because if we're thinking, hey, Ethereum's going to hit a new all-time high, Avalanche, Rune, Solana, Cardano, ChainLink, Polygon, Polkadot, Avalanche, there's so many in here that people like, Near, Optimism, INJ. If all of these things are at least going to touch or break all-time highs, what's your strategy when it comes to holding those versus really degenning out? And, how do you not get bored over the next year and a half waiting for that to happen when you see other altcoins and stuff popping off? What do you think, dude?
Well, I said it and forget it. So when it comes to those deep dive altcoins, rank 1,000, 800, something like that, if there's not a large respected influencer or, protocol founder, or just, maybe it's just a Twitter follower that I like that has like 100,000 followers, kind of gave me like 3 previous good calls. And all right, this 4th one is pretty low market cap, but you know what? I'll just degen into it. I'll go and say when a Martini guy, an XTP, old TAP token, guys, I said, hey, guys, I'm looking at XTP. He talked about it. I think we all had like a 10x, 20x. And then, it's retraced probably about 50%. I took some profits. And now I'm just kind of, I said it and I forget it. I every now and then make sure the project's not dead. But I have more time than you might. So if you're full time, you have 3 kids and they're all young, maybe you can't follow 27 coins. But when your job is crypto, maybe it's a little bit easier. So I'm in the position to set it and forget it. You might not be in the position to set it and forget it. So if you're a little bit busy, you need to have fewer coins. So go degen, just go degen on like 1 or 2.
I think
10.
I think going heavy into Bitcoin, because like you said, Bitcoin starts to move first, and then you can kind of be like, oh, okay, well, maybe other things are going to move. Maybe I should start looking at some of the top 10, top 20 cryptos. I'm always kind of in the small cap space. I'm always kind of degenning, but I'm really online all day. Crypto's 24/7. You'll drive yourself crazy staring at charts all day. But if you pay attention to the sentiment on X or in Telegrams and stuff like that, you can really get a good idea for what could move, and you can get some good returns and put that into Bitcoin, because that's what it's about. Making on small caps and making money and putting into Bitcoin are some of these safe plays. I mean, there's grenades in here, like maybe Tron, maybe BNB with some of the FUD and stuff like that. There are grenades. But for the most part, these top 10, top 20 cryptocurrencies, I think they're going to absolutely send, and putting a little bit in those guys.
Well, and part of it's fighting your own psychology too, because a lot of times it feels like every coin's moving except for your coin, right? Whatever you have the most of is the one that feels like isn't moving for whatever reason. And so I was going to ask Deezer, you said don't hold too many. How many is too many? Because I'm back into like, now is for the next year and a half, 2 years, now's the time to make stuff happen.
Yes.
I saw a tweet over the weekend that was like, it's back to 50 tabs open all the time season. and it does feel that way, where you got to be, every day there's a new thing coming out. I want to know what this is. I want to learn about it. And it's hard not to get spread too thin, because everybody has certain limits on the capital they can get in. Do you have kind of an ideal amount that you look at for different, like 10 coins, 50 coins, or like you build different portfolios, or any suggestions on anything like that?
I'm overextended, whatever the number is. Whatever, if I think the number's 10, I'm like 2x that. If I think it's 20, I'm 2x that. So I am overextended. My problem is buying new coins and then not getting out of stinkers or losers. And it's the new coins that really it troubles me. So say you're watching at home, you have 5 coins, and then a new coin, TIA. A lot of people are talking about TIA. Are you going to sell your least favorite coin to buy TIA so you can keep 5? Or are you going to add to it and then make a 6th coin? We're probably, the majority of us are going to add a 6th coin. So now is the time to really be critical of yourself, because 8 months from now, you might have twice as many coins, and you might already be at the point where you can't even follow everything that you do have. I'll go ahead and share a story. I dusted off an old Wax wallet, and it was only hundreds of dollars worth. I had hundreds of dollars of Wax, but at the peak, that was worth thousands. I had thousands of Wax tokens, and I don't even know what Wax is, 15 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, something like that. And I was shocked at how much extra wax was there. I thought, yeah, probably like 1,000 tokens. It was a multiple of that. And I was kind of grossed out. Like, what is your problem? What was your problem? It was too bullish in late 2021. I remember selling some, kind of rode the rest. So then, got distracted. I got distracted, lost track of the wax wallet. And, now here I am. It was when I was closing out my KuCoin, I had some wax on there. And I remember having a wax wallet and I was like, yeah, the majority's on KuCoin. The majority was in my wax wallet, folks.
Yeah.
Not what I wasn't a fan of that. Y'all ready to talk about ThorChain real quick? Then maybe we'll get into a little Ripple.
Real quick, I wanted to add, Brian Rest was asking about good Telegram groups to try to assess different crypto sentiment. I would say there are some out there, but a lot of Telegram groups just turn into messy. Yeah, they turn into messy shill things. So I would say hop in our Discord. We're in there talking all the time. There's a free section, the Discovery Zone. There's also altcoin scalp. You can, upgrade in and get to all kinds of different trades. We have professional traders in there all the time. I was looking over the weekend, setting levels for all sorts of different altcoins, as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum. But that's where we hang out and talk about all the coins we're messing with. You can join the membership side or just check out, it's the BitLab Academy Discord there. That's where we do all of the deep dive degen research. So, there you go. Brian Rays, hop in there. So, easy. What you got?
Speaking of deep dives, we did a deep dive on ThorChain about a month ago, folks. And I know a lot of the gains are just really Bitcoin, but ThorChain has gained Satoshis, and now they're the third largest DEX. Trading volume hits $1.32 billion. So ThorChain on the come up, everybody. So if you copy traded off that, congrats. That was 1.3 billion over the last week. So ThorChain on the way up. All right, let's look at a little XRP story. I know a lot of people. God, we got a lot of FTX stuff. There is this FTX Sues ByBit to claw back nearly $1 billion.
ByBit, man, ByBit's in the crosshairs for a lot of different factors. I know they're getting an investigation by the DOJ over the BitDAO token. They and Ben Zhao specifically being targeted. So now FTX going after him for a lot of different things. Supposedly they're going to be able to recover almost all of the assets from FTX, which would just be wild.
Yeah. Got John Ray in there, man. He's doing some work. Yeah. Ready to open up again. Yeah.
It's the real deal. All right. Well, we have Ripple may become a key liquidity provider with Ripple Payments XRPL DEX integration. So it's Ripple utility is Ripple liquidity here. So this is Ripple officially unveiled Ripple Payments. Firm know that this new product is the latest advancement in payment solutions. Ripple Payments offers various features for financial institutions and small and medium enterprises. Looks like it has 70 payout markets, and so it's just more and more leaning towards the banker's coin, but in a good way, folks. Now, I'm not trying to say that is a bad thing. So Ripple becoming a liquidity provider with XRPL integration here. First, know that in his view, the most critical aspect of Ripple Payments is the integration with the XRPL, particularly once automated market maker functionalities are enabled. Should make it a little bit safer for banks, and they'll feel more comfortable because there'll be less volatile days, less crazy swings, unless one bank comes in and then just creates a 10% God candle just off regular purchases. We have a CEO advocating for diverse blockchain future. Yeah, he's always out there championing crypto. What do we have for Q&A though?
Yeah, I asked, guys, drop your questions in the chat for Q&A. First question was, will there be a DEX that outperforms Uniswap in this next cycle? What do you guys think? ThorChain, I know it came up close. They're still second or third. We got PancakeSwap obviously doing some stuff, but a lot of DEXs, especially derivative ones. I know GMX, DYDX seeing large growth. Do you think either as the market and volume picks up, do we think Uniswap will maintain that top spot? I'm going to go ahead and say we will see another one pass or an emerging one catch up. I don't know which one it is. I'm not going to put a number on or a name on who it is, but I do think a lot of times we see in the space, the first mover advantage doesn't last forever. So unless they can continue to innovate, I know JP Morgan Consensus very heavily involved with Uniswap that might push people to try new things, but you have the volume there?
I have them up, yeah. So it looks like, DYDX, you have Uniswap V3, you have Kind Protocol and Polygon, you have Uniswap V3 Arbitrum. But I think that what Uniswap's doing a good job of is that if you look at Uniswap a year ago from today, like they've made so many improvements to the application.
They have.
And they have BNB chain stuff now. And it's cool because like even if you connect your MetaMask wallet, it shows like all like the dead, I mean, you could see that on Etherscan, but it shows all the dead tokens that don't matter that could be scams and stuff like that. you could see everything in one wallet except having to instead of having to switch over to chain. So I think Uniswap is just, it's doing work. They're really trying to maintain the number one spot.
I agree. All right, DZ, this should be a pretty easy one, I bet. But Chris P wants to know, Q&A, would you rather buy MATIC or Mana? Decentraland.
Oh.
Yeah, I had the same response.
I mean, I just bought MATIC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I think Mana has I'm actually secretly bullish on Mana because of the Apple integration.
Oh,
okay.
Apple, and it was leading GitHub submissions for a long time. And so there's rumors of a Mana Decentraland Apple partnership. It might happen with some sort of Apple hardware product that might, be in the future. I think we had a Tim Cook symposium where he unveils some glasses or goggles and says Decentraland. You're going to see a like a 10x there. So not overnight by any means. So that being said, MATIC's a lot safer. Mana though could potentially be a little bit better. I do want to share real quick. Apex for low cap. It's outside top 1,000. So if you're looking for some sort of exchange style play there outside of the top 1,000, super degen, I recommend Apex.
Apex Protocol, yeah. I mean, Vela's exchange is another one that's starting to really pick up volume.
Big money behind that one too.
If you look at the volume, obviously on these exchanges, and the way their fees work and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that's part of why GMX does well, is because they pay back a percentage of the fees to the token holders. That's a very interesting model to me. So as these things pick up, now again, you're going to see a battle between DEXs and SEXs or centralized exchanges as KYC and AML laws pick up going into this next cycle. The more we see governments and institutions getting involved, the more we're going to see tight controls on these funds. I mean, we're already seeing it across the board. User experience will get better, but the financial freedom will probably somewhat get limited. So it will be fascinating to see if some money will always flow into decentralized exchanges. But if we're getting to licensed custodians and big money being held by kind of pre-approved centralized exchanges, it will be hard for those decentralized exchanges to keep up. But that's, that really is the world we want to see proliferate as time goes on. So we'll see.
All right. Any other questions? I mean, a lot of people asking about boy bands.
A boy band. Oh, who's the best boy band?
I have no idea.
Don't talk to me.
NSYNC, that's your
don't
pick?
talk to me.
Okay.
Don't talk to me.
Which one has Nick Carter?
Nick Carter's Backstreet Boys. Some say it's Backstreet Boys, but then, Justin Timberlake's the best solo artist.
Oh,
well, I was just going to go Nick Carter since we have a Bitcoin Nick Carter, that ties into that.
Nicks, a lot of Nicks here too as well. All right. Yeah, we'll go with Nick Carter. Rest in peace, Aaron. Rest in peace, Aaron Carter. All right. Well, I think that's about it. One last question for you, though. Have you hit the like button?
Bullish.
Go ahead and hit that. I think that's all we got for today. Make sure you catch us at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be live with Around the Blockchain. And until then, see you later.
Peace.